I'm going to go for one more recording while I'm set up here. This is an older one. It's from 525, first of that day, and the Mayan day was a two dog. Here it goes again, middle of the night, sort of, and I'm stirred to write. Let's see, it was 1:27 a.m. It's getting to be a regular thing. It's interesting. My days and nights are so turned around sometimes that yesterday I didn't wake up until 3:45 p.m. Go figure. I don't really care. What does it matter? I get plenty of sleep, so who cares what hours the clock says those are? Anyway, are you noticing any sort of difference in yourself, in how you feel? I seem to be feeling more heart energized, almost like I'm less physical or less in a human shape and more like a force field centered in heart. Strange, but fun. Hey, I'm determined to be tuned in to the joy aspect in things. Now that I know it's in simply everything, well, that makes it that much easier to discover, no matter where I look. Knowing it's there is at least half the battle. Oops, there's another word, another saying that is on its way out. There is no battle to this, only experience and fun. I'll give you an example. Yesterday I was up on the roof, sweeping away the pine needles and the leaves. And I was kind of resenting that my brother didn't help me with that. He had said that he would, and then, he just never did, and it needed to be done. So there I was, grr, grumble, grumble, the mind doing its little thing. And I was looking at it, and I wasn't liking it. It wasn't a good space to be in. But I just didn't feel like trying to observe and get to the bottom of it and find the source and all of that, to try to pluck it out that way. So instead, I just stopped, and I determined that I was going to enjoy what I was doing, period. And I just turned it around like that and started to have fun doing what I was doing. Now, maybe that didn't get to the root of it, didn't get to the core. Maybe that's no final solution, but the fact is it was fun, it was good enough for the moment, and we don't have to be perfect. So there's just a little example of one of the endless ways you can choose to have fun. Okay, moving on. Are you watching your language patterns? We booby trap our life with such things as half the battle, not even knowing how powerful both we are and they are, our language patterns. When we put our powerful energy into dark matrices, we pay a cumulative price. Actually, it's the language itself that's booby trapped, but a savvy hunter on the alert won't get caught. Remember, a phrase to the wise: language structures consciousness. Make your words or language, come out in the shape you choose and desire. No more sleepling along. Okay, so I'm charged. So what? What now? I'm open and I'm empty. That's usually enough for the flow to just flow. Now, though, as I look within, instead, what I see is an overall loosening up taking place. There's an internal relaxing going on here. Now, if you knew the state of this body, which is generally in pain, you'd know how unusual relaxation can be. So, I wonder what's with that. Watching. What more can we do? Nothing. That's really my whole answer. Nothing. If you are doing anything, then that's exerting effort, and that's not called for in our new magical way of living, our new space. The trick to it lies in being danced, in having all doing flow through, not be something you do. It's more like the doing does you. If that makes sense to you, then you're well on your way already. I just don't see how to clarify it just now. And maybe there's nothing more here. No, wait. There's more and more of that relaxation going on. I thought before it was maybe a fluke, but I guess not. I'm even starting to feel a little head dizzy. Not dizzy really, maybe just a little bit high. Only I promise you, I indulge in absolutely nothing to get high on, except perhaps a bit of cinnamon toast now and then. A sugar high is as close to intoxication as substances of any kind take me. So what is this? I sense it may be communication trying to take place. Who, I don't know. But for some reason it seems relaxation is called for. So I'll take a wee break and get into it. I don't know. The body seems to know. It smiles softly. Heart knows, but of course, that doesn't always translate into something mind can grasp, though. Perhaps you know how that goes. You get sensings and such, but often they're mute as to detail, just an overall feeling or sense. It feels funny to have someone else on board, and actually I'm not up for that. I don't need someone else directly in my field. I'm happy to communicate, but to start out, I want to enforce a bit of artificial separation, just to get comfortable with what's going on and with whom. There are too many creeps, frankly, who are happy to hitch a ride on someone who is incarnate here, someone with a body. Just like the last link I posted on my 5th journal of 522, the written one. It was a perfect example, I thought, of a supposedly benevolent, spiritually advanced being taking advantage of an unknowing and very surprised human, taking over his form. Thanks, but no thanks to any such thing. I'm setting my boundaries. That's my rule. You see, this is the old coin thing going on. I like it. It works. On the one side, we have our ultimate overall oneness with simply all, and that's great. Yet, I won't be lured into turning over my form in the name of any such oneness to some other being who wants to go for a ride. Again, no thanks. You bet I'll enforce separation, artificial or not. It's not at all artificial in 3D. It's the norm. I hope you're equally good with your boundaries, my friends. Sometimes we, as light beings, are so aware we're made only of love. We are too wishy-washy in declaring our turf, our sacred ground. As a sovereign being, a divinity even, get used to declaring your sovereignty and not allowing any nonsense to go down there. If you're uncomfortable with it, call a halt. Seriously, there are some lovely on the outside but nasty on the inside beings parading around. Their goal is to so impress us with their beauty and mastery that we don't ask the hard questions, or don't question them at all. There are imposters of light, my friends. They're nasty characters whose only goal is to take control of you and yours so they may do what they like. Heads up! Now you know I'm not one to encourage fear, and I'm not doing that here. If you're in heart, you know there's none of that there. What has a divine being to fear? If someone can get us into our head and out of heart, we're much more vulnerable. But when we stay in heart, we're not. Truly, you may be surprised when you discover this. There is no fear in heart. There's a calm confidence instead that feels really good. You just put your trust in the flow, not in any being at all, benevolent or otherwise. Trust only heart and source. Now, does that seem too harsh? You play it your way. Of course, we all have our different areas of mastery. I was one of the ones with unformed boundaries. Many of us who are abused in childhood grow up like that. So I know what it's like to be taken advantage of, as in no fun and no thanks. I had to go through some of the toughest lessons in my adult life in order to learn when and when not to trust. I truly believed that unconditional love would solve every ill. And I learned the very hard way to be wise about how it was applied. It is loving to love the self, my friends, to love the self first, above all. Be loyal, first and foremost, to you. If you lose or compromise you, then you have nothing to offer to anyone else. Likewise, you must first be that which you desire to receive. I know it sounds backwards, but give it a go. Until you become it, you can't magnetize it into your life. I feel like such a child about boundaries still. It surprises me that a journal on that would come through. Oh well, as you know, I am writing to myself here. I learn just as much as anyone else through these journals. Well, it's really mind that learns. Heart already knows. And heart is much closer to our true identity than I find mind is. Boundaries are getting fuzzy overall in the USA in some ways, especially with what's going on in airports by the TSA. It's one of the saddest tales of life in the West that we'd be both subject to such abusive treatment on the one hand and put up with it so meekly on the other. Both are a shame. There's plenty of waking up yet to do. It appears that the dark forces will push as far as we'll let them, and then push some more. It gets very uncomfortable when we push back. We have to get up and out of our comfort zone, and we really would rather not bother. Plus, noses sometimes get broken, people get maced, and other unpleasant things can happen. Not a generally happy-making thing. Still, I guess it's more confronting of the sheeple and the sleeple. Waking up is very hard work. Heck, just being in a body on earth can be hard work today. Waking up is, frankly, in some ways, excruciating. But, oh my God, it's got to be done. Our hearts tell us so. They must ignite. And once they do, the flame, the intensity of that is more than enough to carry us on. Until then, though, we're just not really there, much less awake. So let's commit to ourselves to be awake and alert and focused within. Hey, know that you're important. You're worthy of having boundaries and maintaining them. You're no one else's property or livestock to be taken over at their will and without permission, no less. No thanks. Love yourself enough to wake up to this issue. And finally, if you have some issues that have been bothering you, may I suggest some EFT or tapping? It's really both very easy and effective, amazingly so. It doesn't take long at all to get noticeable results, and you don't need a healer. Do it yourself. Do give it a try. I'll put in some links in the scribed document. Higher consciousness is already here, folks, but it's not a bed of roses making the shift into it. We have some old baggage. Most of us have plenty. That simply has to be shed. So let's look to all that happens, both within and around us, as that which is helping us see and be just exactly what we want to be. Let's not get caught in the trap, though, of thinking that suddenly everything is going to be fine, that there will be no more challenges to face, no more awkward or painful moments. It's far more important to be real than to be comfortable. Let's let convenience and comfort zone be the new dirty words. They represent sleeping, an energetic laziness that just isn't heart-focused. So let's be alert. Sending you love and strength, your very own, found in heart. I'll meet you there.